We are back with you live once again on another Johnny Torch Live broadcast. Here we are, Johnny Torch Live number 213, Torch News Roundup number 182. It's a bit of a delayed broadcast because, unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties. We've got a new computer, a new laptop here. Let me just check the sound, make sure everything's okay. Sounds like everything's good and proper. So, for the first time in a long time, I was prepared to do a live broadcast literally 24 hours after after the news broke. It was a big weekend last weekend. Saturday was DC Fandom. I call it Fandom. Is it Fandom or Fandom? But at any rate, situations arose that dictated I could not come across with a live stream on Sunday. So unfortunately, those plans were scrapped until I could get a new laptop. This is the inaugural broadcast from the new laptop, and I'm very pleased with it. I'm happy to be able to have another laptop here to continue on the stellar broadcasts known on the Johnny Torch program. Okay, so welcome in. Of course, we will have the chat room open for any questions. We're going to be talking about a lot of different subjects here. In fact, we're covering so many subjects tonight that I have a feeling I'm going to forget something. So if I forget something, let me know in the comments, and I'll try to bring it up. I've got fairly extensive notes here about the several trailers, different things to talk about. Of course, before we get into all of this good stuff, I would admonish you to check out The Adventures of Bullets, Bourbon, Private Eye, the action adventure extravaganza. You can find the link in the description below. Also, check out my Twitter page for updates and low dates and basically everything in between about the project. Very excited. We have another issue going to press very, very soon. Issue number 7 of The Adventures of Bullets, Bourbon, Private Eye. And it is called The Family Jewels. And we will be talking about that a little more later. I don't want to take up too much time here before we get into the DC fandom stuff. But make sure you check out the link in the description below for all the updates, all the good stuff that's coming towards you. Lots of excitement in the world of The Adventures of Bullets, Bourbon. So, without further ado, let us get straight to the topics at hand. I think we're going to start with, this is something that just came out recently that has nothing to do with DC fandom. So, let me get it out of the way first. The long-awaited Cobra Kai Season 3 trailer was released, and it really wasn't a trailer at all. It was basically a trailer for seasons 1 and 2 that are coming to Netflix, I believe, this Friday. I'm not sure. But the most interesting aspect of this trailer, of course, was the quick snippet of Daniel LaRusso getting taken down by some mysterious character. Wearing black, he could be a member of Cobra Kai, he may not be, and he thrusts a sigh onto the ground, and the dialogue is Daniel saying, "Mr. Miyagi treated me like a son. He wouldn't keep any secrets from me." And this unknown Asian man who took him down says, "Are you sure about that?" So a lot of the scuttlebutt going around, the rumor mongering is that this is Chosen returning. I don't think it's Chosen. I think, because there's been a lot of rumor that they're going to go back to Okinawa. We're going to, Kumiko and Chosen. There's a lot of story there that could be told, and I would be excited to see them do that. This kind of played more to me like some kind of long-lost son of Mr. Miyagi. I would be very surprised if they went there, if that's the direction they chose to go. But that's what it seems like to me. I'm not sure. And at least from my view in the trailer, I'm not sure if they were in Mr. Miyagi's home, the Mr. Miyagi dojo there, or if they were in Okinawa. That, again, is also suspect. So about the rumors, I don't necessarily believe them. I don't know that they're true, but apparently there is a new. We always knew there was going to be some kind of new player on the board for this season. The most discouraging news, unfortunately, is that the tagline says 2021. So we are not going to get. Cobra Kai has been done for a year at this point. Cobra Kai season 3 has been done shooting; it's completed. But all the Netflix stuff, the YouTube Red, the show moving to Netflix, they were trying to find a streaming service that would, I guess, commit to several more seasons. I'm not sure how many more they committed to, but at least they're committing to a few more seasons after this one, because season 3 was completed. It was set to air on YouTube Red, and they had the option of shopping it around to a streaming service that would allow for further seasons. Now we've got those further seasons, apparently, but they're not going to rush this one out because they want to, I don't know, I guess release Cobra Kai maybe season by season, which would take us, I'm hoping, to maybe January, if they give like 2 months of Cobra Kai season 1, 2 months of Cobra Kai season 2, and then they bring out season 3 in January. I'm hoping that's maybe the case. It was supposed to be released, I think, in April. And if they wait unnecessarily for a full year until April, I don't understand that line of reasoning. Particularly, this isn't COVID related. This has nothing to do with places shutting down camera work and stuff. So I don't know. I don't understand particularly why they would do this. All right, so there you have it. Let me know what you think about Cobra Kai Season 3, the brief trailer we got here, if it can be called such. I'm still very excited about it. You know, they left us on a really shocking cliffhanger there, so they've got my interest already gathered. Okay, so let's get to the DC fandom stuff now. We'll try to get through some of the brief speculative things first. The Flash got a panel. We got the Team Flash talking about the show, and we got a trailer, which was pretty interesting. I guess that was the trailer I forgot to watch again, because, of course, that was last Saturday, so I don't remember too much. But apparently that was just most of the final episode that they filmed before they were required to shut down project and everything. So we only get some glimpses of Mirror Master 2 and some of the shenanigans going on there. Nash Wells, some stuff going on between he and Allegra. So it's some interesting tidbits. We don't really know what to make of that stuff yet, but apparently, they do have to deal with that before they go on to season 7. I believe it's 7. So they're going to wrap that stuff up probably within the first 2 or 3 episodes, I imagine. All right, that's the poster for the upcoming season 7. Is it 7? I don't even know. The real story here that we're going to talk about is, of course, they have confirmed that Hartley Sawyer is, in fact, fired. He will not be coming down to the CW breakfast table. And I don't really want to make light of this, that he is the victim of cancel culture. Of course, it's a terrible thing. For those of you that did not get with the program, Hartley tweeted some pretty tasteless edgelord humor, James Gunn-esque tweets 5 or 6 years ago, or whatever it was, before he was hired for the role of Ralph Dibny. These tweets resurfaced somehow. I'm not exactly sure who resurfaced them, but of course the cancel culture mob came out in droves to request his firing, and of course they took no time to make the decision. Hartley took down his Twitter. He made some kind of act of contrition, as they are wont to do when they're caught by the tyrannical mob of cancel culture, but it was to no avail. He was swiftly shown the door. So now let's see. The copy we have here. The showrunner Eric Wallace has weighed in on how the character will be written out of The Flash. He told Entertainment Weekly, "We're going to treat it like we would if we were writing a comic book graphic novel. We're giving the elongated man a bit of a rest for a while, but we will leave the door open. I'm not saying by any means that it's the end of the character," Wallace continued. "In fact, quite the opposite." See, they don't really have to write him out, because they could change the actor and explain it very easily, because Elongated Man has changed his appearance in the show from time to time. Not for a long period of time, of course, but seeing as how he can change his appearance, you really could keep the character around and write out Hartley Sawyer. Of course, there's a big fan movement, and I'm supportive of them to get Hartley Sawyer rehired. Because it's just cancel culture. You know what I mean? It's heartlessness. It's just not wanting to reconcile with people who are contrite. You're showing that there is no forgiveness in the corporate world. And again, these are not things that just came out right now. These are things that happened 5 or 6 years ago. So it really isn't consequential to the work he's doing now. You can't have the punishment exceed the quote unquote crime, as it were. Again, this is just stuff that he did in the manner of James Gunn, and I felt the same way with James Gunn. It's tasteless. It's sad that someone would try so desperately to make a funny, in that way, which material that was completely unfunny. But you can't completely take a person's livelihood away from them over a tasteless attempt at humor. Something that was apparently popular some 10 years ago or whatever. And look at James Gunn now. We're going to be talking about what he's up to later on in the show. He's going to be taking on 2 big budget movies. He was ostracized, if you want to call it that, for like 3 or 4 months. And, the world at large moved on, forgot about his tweets, and pretty much he's going to be all right, James Gunn. So the same should hold true for Hartley Sawyer. Unfortunately, that don't look to be the case. Wallace continued, "We just don't know when the elongated man will return or in what form he will return. In other words, the Team Flash member is being put on the shelf for now, but when he does return, it's likely to be with a new face and actor. That's something the showrunner says we'll get a taste of in Season 7's opening episodes. Ralph is a guy who can change faces and his appearance in many ways. Without giving any spoilers away, there are a couple of ways that we can have Elongated Man still appear in at least one episode this season to wrap that storyline up. That gets us what we need and still allows fans to say goodbye to the character, at least for the indefinite future." So again, they don't seem to be in a hurry to replace Sawyer, which, again, the storyline that they had built up with the Elongated Man was a pretty interesting one. I liked the relationship between he and Sue Dearborn. A lot of people thought that they could probably spin them off into their own show. Of course, the Elongated Man and Sue were married in the comics. It could have spun off into a good spin-off show with them being private eyes or what have you. For those of you worried this also means saying goodbye to Sue Dearborn, Wallace later confirmed that we'll be seeing actress Natalie Dreyfus more than once this year, even without the Elongated Man. However, you have to believe her story will have undergone some key changes. So, yeah, they're basically going to carry on her story for the time being and write the Elongated Man out. Again, I am not crazy about this news, and apparently they are not going to go back on this no matter how much anybody campaigns. Feel free to use the hashtag rehire Hartley Sawyer if you are also inclined to think that he deserves to continue on in the series. Again, it just shows how far we've fallen as a society, where some tasteless humor from, I don't know, whatever it was, 6 or 7 years ago, is going to dictate whether the guy will ever work again. So let me know what you think in the comments below. And we will move on now to some more of those interesting stories that developed during DC fandom, the fandom. Let's talk about, this is something that everybody excluding myself was excited about. The trailer dropping for the Zack Snyder version of Justice League. Now, again, full disclosure, I liked the Joss Whedon Justice League a lot more than the average person, a lot more than the average bear. I liked it. I thought it was really good. You know, it had the flavor, and I think that's the reason why they got Joss Whedon to do it, is it had that comic booky flavor. It didn't really feel like it was this pretentious mess that Zack Snyder seems to make out of his DC productions. But we got some interesting peeks at it. It looks very ambitious. If I was going to say anything about it, I would say it looks ambitious, which is pretty cool. I mean, we got to look at Darkseid here. I don't know to what extent he's going to be in the film. I don't know if this is just a flashback, which is what is likely. And we get to see, you know, Superman is back in the black costume. We get to see Martha return, Martha and Lois, which, you know, they weren't treated particularly well, I don't think, in the original Joss Whedon version. That might be the only thing that this might improve on. But, you know, and then we get some looks at the Flash, who's, I guess, going to get, you know, the Ezra Miller version, going to get a bit more fleshed out take on him. We see Kiersey Clemons as the second Black Iris West. Oh, what do they got against them gingers, huh? And Cyborg and his father and some weird-looking CGI, herky-jerky-looking Cyborg. Again, that's a completely different subject, but Ray Fisher beating the war hammer, beating the war drum, I guess, against Joss Whedon, trying to get Warner Brothers to investigate him, I guess. I don't know. That's kind of kooky off on its own right, but just sticking with the trailer for now. We see Steppenwolf is back. He looks pretty much the same. I don't know if they tweaked the CGI with him. The little brief looks we've seen of him, he looks pretty much the same. I think Kalibak is in it. Is that the guy with the hood? And no, maybe it was Desaad. That might have been Desaad, right? Kalibak's the guy with the club and the, yeah, that was Desaad, probably. He looked like, what's that guy's name from Infinity War? Eben Maw or something like that. I don't know. I'm not well enough versed probably in the Kirby characters, I think. But anyway, yeah, it looks interesting. I don't know. Is Ben Affleck, yeah, he's going to be still Batman in this. I don't know. I honestly don't know what to think. I thought it was fine, the Joss Whedon version. If anything, this looks interesting. I don't know if you're going to be able to get it on DVD. I might, just for a lark, get it on DVD just so I can see what they did to this film. But I'm not getting HBO Max, that's for sure. I don't know. Do they give free trials with that? Maybe. I don't know. But again, sometime in 2021, we are going to finally see the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, which proves that if you complain long enough and loudly enough, and there's enough of you, you might just get Hollywood moguls to turn their tin ear towards you and entertain your requests. So there you have it. Let me know what you think. Are you excited about the Snyderverse continuing on potentially? Are you excited about if this film is going to be any good? From what I've heard of it, I don't know. I don't really. It doesn't sound that exciting. You know, we've got the suicidal Batman, and I don't know, just Zack Snyder, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. This is the third time now. Am I supposed to get excited about the third film in the the Snack Zyder film verse that disappointed me the first two times? I don't know. I can't get excited. We'll move on now to the Wonder Woman 1984 second trailer. And this one actually was pretty exciting. There wasn't a whole lot to it that we didn't already know, I suppose. The big Cheetah reveal, we'll get to that in a moment. Steve Rogers. I knew I was going to say that. I was trying to think of the guy's name. Steve Trevor in the acting of Chris Pine returns, and we see him in the plane, and I think they're trying to play him, and I said this before, I think they're trying to play him as the opposite of what Diana was in the first film. The first film, she was sort of naive and didn't know what was going on in man's world. I'm doing the air quotes right now. And they're going to do like the same thing here. I've already had my fill, to be honest with you, of Steve Trevor looking like a goof. You know what I mean? Just from the trailers alone, he's like mistaking a trash can for high art. He's wearing the pants, you know, like a Thriller outfit from Michael Jackson or something. I mean, with Wonder Woman, they didn't really. I don't feel like they leaned on that, at least for humor, as much as they're doing with Chris Pine and Steve Trevor. But again, they do have great chemistry, Gal Gadot and Chris Pine. So, you know, I think it's going to be all right. But again, I think there's a lot of wackiness here. That's kind of, I don't know. You know, they could have dialed it back and just had Steve be kind of cooler than it seems like he's coming off. All right, then we've got a lot of stuff here with Maxwell Lord. I don't know, is he the president in this? It seems like he's either speaking for the president or he's the president. There's a big fight in the White House, which is always fun. You know, some of the best superhero movies, you can tell they have fights in the White House, like Superman 2, X-Men 2. I mean, I think Wonder Woman 2 is carrying on that tradition very well. I like that she's using the lasso as a shield and the bullets are flying all over the place because she's like whipping them away like a shield. And she gets her first battle with the Cheetah in human form in this scene. So she's obviously turned sides by this point. And we get a little glimpse that there's more to her than meets the eye, Cheetah. She's apparently, they're going to do that thing where I think, like the Abomination in the Incredible Hulk movie, where she starts ladling the stuff into herself, and whatever it is, it's not enough for her, and she wants to get more and more powerful, the same way that Blonsky wanted to get more and more powerful until she just becomes an abomination, so to speak, like Blonsky did. In her case, the Cheetah. And something else I found interesting. I think they're going to finally do what I wanted them to do in the first movie, which is show the contest of champions, or whatever it is that the Amazons do. Now, that's what bothered me about the first movie. The only thing that I kind of didn't like was the whole, you know, they cut out that whole contest, the bullets and bracelets and all that stuff, and they just made it that Diana stole all the accoutrements of Wonder Woman, that she didn't earn them. So I guess we're going to sort of retroactively go back and show baby Wonder Woman. And I don't understand, honestly, what she's doing competing as a baby, you know, as a little girl, with these adult Amazons. But they're going to, I guess, try to show us where she was worthy. This is kind of like doing Thor 2 and then showing later on that he was worthy all that time. I don't know. I think it's a little out of place that they should have done something about this in the first movie. Very good first movie, though, by the way. I'm not really saying this to rag on it too much, but I think that that belonged in the first movie, and now just having a flashback here to deal with that, I don't know. That's probably it's not the best idea. And so finally, last but not least here, let's take a look at finally finally, it sounds like one of those, the title of a comic from the 1970s. And finally, the cheetah. And this is not too unlike what we were promised, with some of the promo stuff, the dolls and the 3D cards and stuff. This is kind of what I was expecting her to look like, and I'm fine with it. I think it's fine. I think a lot of people wanted her to look more animalistic. I mean, facially animalistic. But I think you kind of lose the humanity when you do that. You know what I mean? I think if you made her face look too much like an animal and not like Kristen Wiig, I don't think you connect as much. I never liked the animal version of Cheetah anyway. I liked her in the skin-tight cheetah felt costume, So, anyway, this is kind of like the best of both worlds, I guess, where you can kind of imagine that she's still kind of that human cheetah while having sort of the abilities of the animalistic cheetah. Well, anyway, yeah, I'm pretty excited about this movie. I hope to see it if they'll ever allow us to see it. This will be fun. It looks like it's well made, and I think Patty Jenkins is trustworthy, with the first film being very good, to deliver again on the second one. And she signed up again for the third one, I believe. So we've got her around for the long haul, and we will probably, I'm guessing, hear some movement about that pretty soon. This is another film that's been out for it's been completed for 2 years, and finally they're going to release it, hopefully, in the near future. All right, so let me know what you think. Excited about the Wonder Woman 1984 second trailer? It's kind of ironic that Wonder Woman 1984 comes out in a year where we've basically been treated like 1984, the novel, the George Orwell novel. All right, a lot of stuff, a lot of panels in DC fandom that were, well, let's say, kind of SJW, to say the least. But I did want to mention this. This was kind of exciting. There was a panel about, I guess, about Milestone, basically looking back on Milestone, and that they're going to try to revive Milestone over at DC in the comic wing. Let me just read the copy. Milestone principals Reggie Hudlin and Denise Cowan joined Jim Lee, and boy, did Jim Lee get his money's worth of work. You know what I mean? Warner Brothers DC, they put him to work. He was there on every panel practically. But I generally like Jim Lee. He's one of those guys where I wasn't a fan really of 90s artwork, and I say this all the time. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of McFarlane, wasn't a big fan of the stylings of Rob Liefeld, but Jim Lee was a favorite. I always thought that he was a really, really talented guy. Now, of course, he's a publisher, so it's putting him in a place where he's got to toe the corporate line. He's basically doubling down here on this diversity stuff and all that stuff there. But anyway, not to deviate from what we're talking about here. They broke the news that an all-new Static Shock digital comic series will arrive next February, followed by an original graphic novel with art by Cohen. Milestone heroes Icon and Rocket are also set to return, while select content from the Milestone backlist will be remastered and available for digital purchase in September and thereon. As Deadline noted, however, it was also confirmed at the event that a new live-action Static Shock movie is in development. Now, I've been saying they should do this for a long time. Instead of race-changing characters, which we're going to be talking about that yet again, they should take some of the existing properties, and Milestone has a lot of them, but Static Shock being the most noteworthy. I mean, I think everybody knows Static Shock, particularly from the animated series. I didn't really watch the series regularly as a kid or whatever. I kind of just watched some of the stuff that when Batman guest starred and stuff. So I'm familiar with the character, and it seems like a cool character. And again, it's not a token character. It's not somebody they change the race to in order to facilitate we need to have diversity. They created this character. The character was popular and caught on, and so it's legit. Focus on them. More power to them, so to speak. Let's see. We're talking with other divisions at Warner Brothers, even those in animated, about doing Milestone Media feature films, Hudlin said. And we're also involved in extending the Milestone characters into new media like podcasts with a series of stories on podcast. We want to deliver Milestone Media on whatever platform you want. So, again, yeah, this is pretty exciting. I mean, like I said, I'll be happy to see a Static Shock film. And that's the kind of stuff that I want to support. Unlike what's going on with a lot of these other films where they're just shoving in race-changed characters. I'll be supporting Static Shock. Will I be supporting the Batman? As it stands now, probably not. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a moment. But anyhow, let me know what you think. You excited about the potential Static Shock film? Are you excited that this character will finally get live action treatment? As far as I know, I don't think he ever appeared in something like Smallville or anything, did he? I don't know, because I didn't follow Smallville either. I didn't like that either. So let me know what you think in the comments below if you are excited about that. All right, next up, let us focus on, this was interesting. There was a Shazam panel at the DC Fandom, and Sinbad showed up. Now, of course, the joke here was Sinbad did a movie called Shazam, I think, back in the 90s or something. And, I think it was mildly popular. I think he might have done a sequel, too. So, the gag is, he's in the Shazam panel. I'm not sure, though. Does this mean he's going to be in the sequel? Some people think he's going to be Takitani, who, of course, is the Tiger Shazam. So he'd be providing the voice of Takitani. But I don't know. I mean, this could be just a gag. I don't think they really revealed anything here other than the name of the film, which, by the way, is going to be, as they revealed it, Shazam. Okay. Shazam, Fury of the Gods, to be released November 4th, 2022. This film hasn't even started production. You could already see some of these kids are getting older. Jack Dylan Grazier, is that how his name is? He's already looking about 22 years old there. Asher Angel, he's got a baby face. He can get away with it. That's why they picked him, because he's got a baby face. Asher Angel. He can play a 14-year-old for probably another 10 years. And what's her name here? I can't read that too good. Finate Herman? Yeah, she's still young and cute. She'll be fine. So yeah, this is going to be, again, this is the sequel, and they set up Mr. Mind. So he's going to be the villain in this one. Pretty much, it's already set in stone. But Black Adam, yeah, when is Black Adam going to take on Shazam? That's what I want to see. And they're setting Black Adam up to be his own sort of hero, which we'll be talking about right now. How's that for a transition, huh? The Rock did a panel where he talked about the Black Adam movie that has been, if I may use the term, gestating for several years at this point, but it is going to be made, and he confirmed that. This looks like Tamara Morrison to me. That doesn't even look like The Rock, but he showed a few images that obviously they're getting ready to go into production. That is a good costume, though. That is a great costume. I think Shazam, I mean, in the comics, I think Black Adam didn't have a cape, did he? But I don't understand why not, because obviously, that's kind of the Shazam look. All the other Shazams have capes. Why not him? Unless, of course, he's doing it in protest, taking the cape off. I'm a bad guy. I don't wear a cape. All right, so I get some copy here from what The Rock said. He said in his little semi-panel, whatever you want to call it, one of the things I always loved and admired about Black Adam was, number one, he was an anti-hero. I love that. I love that the line is a little blurred. I love that he has his own sense of Black Adam justice. See, this is the thing now. Black Adam, sort of like Venom before him, he's sort of being rechristened as an anti-hero and not as a villain. So this is kind of like giving The Rock his cake and eating it too. He gets to play, a hero, but then again, he's really a bad guy because he comes up into opposition against characters like Shazam, who's against his way of thinking, so to speak. The Rock added, he is a ruthless keeper of justice. He is the judge, jury, and executioner. He believes in an eye for an eye, and he will always do everything he can to protect his people, more so protect his family. The superheroes, they have to exhibit a little bit of restraint when it comes to taking care of the bad guys. That's not the case with Black Adam. He does not practice restraint. That makes for a really powerful combination, and one that's explosive, one that's really dangerous, and one that is ultimately very likable, to me at least. All right, so that, at least he's a fan. That's what's good about this. He's on board, and that's really cool. Now, he talked about some of the JSA members. It's too bad that Hunter isn't here, because I know he usually asks me about these things. So, if you're watching on the rebroadcast, Hunter, this one's for you. Okay, so he's talking about the JSA members that are going to be involved. The Justice Society of America is a DC superhero team that predated the Justice League. Johnson described them as a group that believes in fighting for truth and justice. He debuted the concept art of Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Cyclone, and Atom Smasher at the DC Fandom. Johnson made it sound as if his beliefs are going to come in direct conflict with those of the JSA. So these are the confirmed heroes. I'm not terribly familiar with Cyclone. I really don't know. I guess she makes tornadoes and stuff, like Storm, something like that. Atom Smasher, I think he was in Justice League Unlimited, the animated series. He was also in, I think, the Flash TV show. Of course, Hawkman, a favorite, and Dr. Fate. Noah Centineo will play Atom Smasher. He appeared on the panel with The Rock. And he was quoted as saying he really has something to prove, especially with his lineage of where his grandfather was kind of a villain. He's got quite a spirit to help. Centineo said Atom Smasher will go through a transformation throughout the film as he goes on a journey with Black Adam. The Rock later said he would love to see his character hang out with or go up against Superman. We're kind of similar in terms of our powers, Johnson said. At the end of the day, you never know. Black Adam and Superman could become friends, or they won't. Who knows? Maybe we'll see. So, setting the stage there, that would be interesting. I think, of course, The Rock would rather do scenes with Henry Cavill and take on Superman than Shazam. Nothing against Zachary Levi. But, he wants to go for the top dog, I think, and that's kind of what we're seeing there. But, again, I wasn't exactly thrilled to hear a Black Adam movie. I would much rather see Black Adam fight Shazam in a Shazam sequel. I like The Rock, and hopefully, he looks like he's straight from the page. I think he's going to embody this character well, but to play him as an anti-hero, I don't know. But now that they're bringing in the JSA, you've got my enthusiasm back up. I think this will be fun to see probably how, depending on your point of view, he turns on the JSA or the JSA turns on him. It will be very interesting. And like I said, hopefully will lead to his combating Shazam in the future. Let me know what you think about the Black Adam film. All right, we still got so much more to get to here, and we've been at it for 39 minutes and counting. So if you're here, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about any of these great subjects we've been tackling. We're going to talk next about Ezra Miller's Flash panel, a pretty brief panel it was. Didn't have a whole lot to tell us, but the plan is still to have Ezra Miller return as the Flash. They pretty much swept that controversy under the rug that he choked somebody. I don't know, some woman approached him and he choked her out and threw her to the ground, something like that. It seemed like a pretty odd situation, and nobody really ever explained what that was about. And again, going back to the beginning of this show, one of their first stories we talked about, I'm against cancel culture. So we really need to know what that was kind of about. Was it a joke? Was it an attack? Was it just being in the wrong place at the wrong time? Something just, I don't know what happened, honestly. But there you have it. I mean, this kind of thing just got swept under the rug. And I can take a good guess why, because Ezra is bi. I don't think they're going to try to persecute him so that they could be saying that they fired a bisexual actor. So there's that, right? But let's get to the comments from the panel. The Flash panel wasn't massively revealing, but it did end with director Andy Misitucci. As an Italian man myself, I'm ashamed to not be able to pronounce his name. Andy Muschietti, I'm going to guess that is. Sharing some must-see concept art from the highly anticipated DC Comics movie. Now, this is the new costume. And it's supposed to be like pulsating with energy and everything. I mean, they're just taking advantage of the budget at this point. But it's so much better looking than the Zack Snyder one, the Snack Snyder one. This one looks like a unitard, the way the Flash's sleek suit is supposed to look. I don't think it's supposed to look. It's not supposed to look panel-y, like it was off of somebody's roof. You know what I mean? This is a good-looking costume, so that's fine. Like I said, the emblem glowing and pulsating, I don't need, but just give me the slick suit. Let's see. Yeah, well, they don't have much to say about that, but the real story of the day, the copy that everybody really wants to talk about, is the revelation that Michael Keaton will reprise his role as Batman in The Flash, which we're at least guessing tentatively is going to be Flashpoint Paradox. Nobody knows really for sure, how much they're going to take from that actual comic, but the theme is the same. It's going to be him going back in time to try to save his mother from being gunned down and his father getting the blame. And this is very exciting because it looks like the exact same Michael Keaton costume from Batman 89. I don't know, is that from 89 or is that from Batman Returns? I think it's from 89. It's got that same goofy looking symbol, bat symbol on it. If they were going to make any sense, they should keep it with Batman Returns, not only because, in my opinion anyway, it was a better looking costume, but it didn't have the goofy emblem with the extra fins. Now, this begs the question, of course. Now, we have already had confirmation that Michael Keaton will be in the film. Nobody really knows for sure if he's going to play Batman. Now, is this going to be some CGI skullduggery where they take some footage of Michael Keaton from Batman 89 and they just work some magic and try to make it look like, sort of Back to the Future 2 type stuff where they'll just animate sort of a CGI image of a younger Michael Keaton, and then the Flash will actually only interact with the present day Michael Keaton. You know what I mean? This doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to use age-defying CGI on Michael Keaton through the whole movie. This might just be where he meets him at one point for a scene, for an action scene where it'll be largely CGI'd, and then he goes to the future Bruce Wayne. And the reason why I'm thinking that is because I don't know. I mean, I would love to see Michael Keaton wear the Batman costume again, present day. I don't know if they're going to do that. So I'm setting myself up for possible disappointment. But I would love to see, like, current day, where we find Bruce Wayne now, 40 years after, or whatever it's going to be after the events of Batman 89. It'd be about 30 years, I guess, but we could be going even further into the future. I don't know. We'll see. I think there's also word, I don't think this was confirmed in the panel, but word has it also that Ben Affleck is going to return as Batman to sort of set things right. I think he sort of needs to, Because what they're going to do is, I don't think they're going to fold the Batman, the Robert Pattinson Batman, into the Justice League universe. So they're going to try to have to explain how they're going to get a Batman into this universe. It's not going to be Ben Affleck anymore, because I don't think Ben Affleck wants to keep playing Batman, and they already ruined his Batman anyway, so we really don't need him. I was much more impressed with him as Daredevil than I was with him as Batman. I mean, I can see him as Bruce Wayne Batman, but to me, I would rather carry on with a different actor at this point, because, not only he's getting up there in age, he's not going to want to keep doing these movies. So, I mean, now's the time to bring in a new actor, and they got the perfect excuse to do that now with Flashpoint. So he's probably going to pass the torch. He's going to hand it off to somebody else, and I guess that person is yet to be named. I don't know. But let me see if there's anything else in the copy here. Let's see. The fastest man alive will be teaming up with Michael Keaton's original big screen Batman. The suit doesn't appear to have changed very much, so the question is, will Keaton be de-aged with visual effects to return as the Dark Knight? This is just concept art, but the certainty seems like a possibility. It's going to be pretty nuts seeing those two working alongside each other regardless. They did a smart thing where they have Ezra be the guy, like he went into the timeline and seen the Grant Gustin Flash. Now, that works out good, because now it looks like he's going through all these different things. In Grant Gustin's case, it's kind of sad, because Grant Gustin is a much better Flash, in all honesty. But, this is pretty cool, though, that it's showing that you can have different Flashes, you can have different Batmans. It's pretty much announcing that the WB rule that they had, that you can't have a Superman show and a Superman movie existing at the same time. You can't have a Batman show and a Batman movie existing at the same time. Those rules are all thrown out the window now. That's out. That's over with. So it's pretty cool to see how now maybe we can get a Batman TV show. Maybe we can get, well, we're going to get a Superman TV show, but maybe we can get some full-fledged actual hero shows on. I mean, I'm saying that because, we've got some with reservations. We've got The Flash. That's pretty much the only name superhero show we've had right now. We had Green Arrow, which kind of spun itself into the Green Arrow mythos. They didn't start kind of being too, faithful to that. So what I'm trying to say is now, without any kind of fear that we're going to step on the toes of the films or some other project, we can just do the flat-out Batman TV show and not worry about it. We can do the flat-out Superman TV show and not worry about it. Will they do that? I don't know. I think we're still kind of tiptoeing around the fringes, particularly in Superman and Lois Lane. It's not really a Superman show. It's going to be more like that, family thing, the family dynamic and so forth, that it's going to be not Superman first. That's the kind of thing I'm trying to hope we can get away from. All right, so let me know what you think about the Flash movie, the Flashpoint Paradox. Let's see here. Any more in the copy? During the panel for The Flash, there were also some hints that Barry's actions here are what lead to the creation of the multiverse. It seems like a change in approach to storytelling could be coming to the DC Extended Universe as a result. So, there you are. There you have it. It looks pretty exciting to me. I always said that Michael Keaton's Batman it wasn't understood properly by Tim Burton, but I liked it a lot, because it was the best costume. The thing you can't say about Burton is that he didn't know visuals. The man knows visuals, and he gave us the most striking Batman, and arguably Joker, I think, too. And the story, though, when it took all those weird detours and stuff of Joker killing Batman's parents, and Batman telling Vicky Vale, and Batman killing, and, Joker stealing the boss's girlfriend, all that stuff, it just made it feel so watered down to me, is the reason why I could never really hang with Batman 89. But you can't deny that that was some sweet swag that they had there. The Batwing, the Batmobile, the theme, the Danny Elfman theme, that is just like ingrained in that fans' minds. You know what I mean? You always are going to think back at that stuff. It was really, really landmark stuff. It's the best thing I can say about it. All right, let's move on now. Should we go to... Yeah, we'll save the Batman for last, even though it's a related topic. But this is actually... because I would save the best for last, because this was the most exciting thing for me, was Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad, I guess I must phrase it. We got to see Suicide Squad and a panel with James Gunn and pretty much the entire cast. And the sequel was given a behind-the-scenes look. It wasn't really a trailer per se. It was a behind-the-scenes look-see. And, you know, it looks really, really awesome. My biggest fear, and I'm going to say it right off the top, is that they're going to make it R-rated, which is sort of the fetish that I think particularly in DC, but all comic fans have, is that it's got to be R-rated. It's got to be R-rated. I want to see these guys get their heads and legs and arms blown off. I want to see King Shark eat somebody and spit out the head. And you know what I mean? You don't need that stuff. I think we already went through this with the Birds of Prey and Harley Quinn. Nothing was added to that film by just having 2 or 3 gratuitous violence scenes and people swearing all the time. That's basically all that they added to that film, and that's all that you're really going to add to this film. Is you're going to have 1 or 2 scenes of somebody getting blown up badly, and then you're going to have characters using the F-bomb 137 times. It's unnecessary. And that's what my biggest concern is with this film. I think that's something worth being concerned about. I think they might have learned their lesson with Birds of Prey. They might have. But again, I don't know. You got a large segment of people that Logan is the greatest movie ever. The Joker is the greatest movie ever. Deadpool's the greatest movie ever. And you got these people that are saying this, and it's what weighs on the minds of a lot of these producers and stuff, and they're just gonna like listen to that. But it failed with Birds of Prey. Hopefully that is the lasting image that they get. Speaking of lasting images, this is my excuse of talking, keeping the lovely Margot Robbie on screen as long as possible. This is the new costume. And I got a couple of different costumes. She's got like 2 different costumes. We'll take a look at both of them. This is the first one. She's got like red and black hair now instead of the red and blue, which is kind of interesting. But what did she have? Pink and blue before? It's like red and black now. They're kind of tying it more to her original Harley Quinn costume, which is something I thought was really good. That was a good idea to try to finally get back to that, to the original look and colors and so forth. Before we move on, this is like a party dress, so at least they've got her in something, because most of the costumes now are getting less and less sexy, let's be honest. They're not going back to like the first Suicide Squad. But this party dress, this kind of, to me, kind of evokes like Marion Ravenwood from Raiders of the Lost Ark, the Belloc dress. This is, it's cute. That's, at least she's got something feminine to wear. And they have pointed out that they removed the tattoo that says Rotten on her face, which thankfully, I say remove all the tattoos. I thought that was one of the biggest, stupidest mistakes that David Ayer did, was to make Harley and Joker tattoo fanciers. I don't know. They could do the same thing with the Joker. But at least in Harley's case, they are keeping, it looks like, most of them. Part of the reason, I guess, that they were removing some of them is because now that she's not with the Joker anymore, apparently that's still a thing, that maybe she doesn't want these tattoos that are referring to the Joker, even though she kind of like rewrote them. I don't know, in the last Birds of Prey film there. All right, so let's take a look at the other costume. This is the one that looks more like her comic book / video game counterpart. That shirt armor, or whatever you want to call that, that looks very video game-ish. And the leather jacket and stuff, it still looks very Harley Quinn-ish from the animated series, those colors. It's just sort of, being brought into a video game looking construct. But again, I like it. The hair looks great. The makeup looks great. You know, Margot Robbie always looks great. But the costuming looks really good. I'm really satisfied with this. I hope that the story will be just as good. And we got a list by James Gunn of all the names of the characters that will be in the film, as well as the actors who will be playing them. So let me get to that first before we move on to our final story here. All right, let's see. I am not going to point them out to you. You're going to have to just pick them out on your own. All right, let's see. The Suicide Squad, obviously, with Margot Robbie playing Harley Quinn. Jai Courtney returning as Captain Boomerang. And yeah, he has finally got a costume. That was also awesome. You can see Harley's costume there as well, looking a lot, like I said, more like the comic. The thing is, see, that's why I think James Gunn was the right person to bring to this, because you can see James Gunn is bringing a comic book sensibility to this. David Ayer was bringing like wild and crazy, you know, I don't want to say counterculture, kind of like, you know, stuff beyond, I don't know, maybe beyond Katana. I really didn't see any comic booky elements in that film. The film worked more on the case of, well, yeah, Deadshot, I guess you could say, even though he didn't wear the mask for too long. But anyway, I digress. But Captain Boomerang looks great here, and Jai Courtney was a favorite from the first film, so I'm glad he's still sticking around. I'm glad they made an effort to bring back the next two members here, too. Joel Kinnaman as Rick Flag. He's an important member. And Viola Davis, of course, as Amanda Waller. Amanda Waller, she did a fantastic job, Viola Davis, as Amanda Waller. And she's a must-have to make a Suicide Squad film. I don't know why they're trying to act like this is a soft reboot. This is a sequel that just isn't dealing with all the same characters. I mean, you know, that's kind of the way to look at it. I don't know why they wouldn't call it a sequel. All right. John Cena, of course. The John Cena, You Can't See Me Kid. He's playing Peacemaker. And he's playing a character that I think is amusing because they say he wants peace at all costs. So it's like he's willing to blow your brains out in order to have peace. That's actually pretty cool sounding. That's pretty cool. Pete Davidson as Blackguard. I wouldn't know where to point him out to you on a map. I don't know. Michael Rooker as Savant. Now, he's he's interesting. You know Michael Rooker. He's Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy. He's in every James Gunn film. And he looks like he's kind of dressed like Harley Quinn himself. Don't tell him I said that, though. Sean Gunn, of course, also a perennial favorite as Weasel, which he's really good at that CGI stuff, I guess, you know, sort of mimicking, because he mimicked the movements of Rocket in the Guardians 2 as well. Weasel is not pictured here, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Idris Elba as Bloodsport. Now, Bloodsport, a lot of people were thinking he was going to play Sportsmaster. A lot of people were thinking he was going to play a recast Deadshot. But, of course, you know, they don't want to burn their bridges with Will Smith should ever he want to come back as Deadshot. Bloodsport is a character, I was familiar with him, actually. A lot of people are probably like, Bloodsport, what is he, some kind of obscure character? He probably could be considered obscure, but I remember him in the early, I think it was like the 80s revamp of Superman. He was sort of like I think he was like one of those like vets gone mad type characters where he's like coming back to America, seeing that it's a crap hole, and then just wants to start killing people for ruining the country. I think that's just going off memory. I think that's what that character was. But of course, Idris Elba, a great actor, and you know, they're not christening this character as a black character. The Bloodsport is black, so you know, I give them kudos for not race changing. At least they got a sufficient character if you want a diverse cast, and that's the case. Let's see. Peter Capaldi, the great Peter Capaldi, Doctor Who. is the Thinker. Of course, we saw the Thinker in the Flash television show. This is a different kind of take on him. Of course, the Thinker was way back in the comics, like in the Silver Age. David Del Masterson as Polka Dot Man. He's entertaining no matter what he plays, David Del Masterson. And I don't know too much about Polka Dot Man. I think I've seen him in the comics once or twice before. Of course, David is no stranger to comic book films. He was in Ant-Man, the 2 Ant-Man films, as I don't remember his character's name. He's in The Dark Knight as one of the Joker's lackeys, and of course, he's also Murdoch in the more recent MacGyver series. Let's see, Danielle Melchior. Is that how you pronounce it? I'm sorry, Daniela, I don't know. As Ratcatcher 2. Now, again, this is something important. They're saying Ratcatcher 2. Because I was about to go to town on them saying, it's a gender change, race change. But no, this is Ratcatcher 2. So she is not the original Ratcatcher. So, in a sense, they are not monkeying with the original characters. And I am very glad for that. Falua Borg as Javelin. Which is Javelin? I don't know. I think that's the guy there with the yellow spandex and the blue spandex. Nathan Fillion as TDK, a.k.a. the Detachable Kid. That's going to be amusing to see. The Detachable Kid. But at least Nathan Fillion is actually in a superhero movie. How many times have we waited to see him actually play a character and not a voice and not a poster on a wall and stuff? Mei-Ling Ning? I don't know how to pronounce a name with no vowels. NG. That could sound like something very bad if I was to try to sound that out phonetically, but we'll just say Mei-Ling NG as Mongol. She's the orange chick in the back, I think, right? I remember her, I think, in something. Not sure. And Alice Braga as Sulsuria. No idea who that is either. All right, so there you have it, the Suicide Squad. I am looking forward to this one. Again, the dirty dozen feel. That's always been, I've always liked that. Because half of these characters aren't going to survive. The thing is, though, is which characters are going to survive. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure, well, we know Harley Quinn's going to survive. I'm pretty sure Captain Boomerang and, I don't know, maybe Bloodsport? Really? Maybe? I mean, he's played by a name actor. That might not necessarily mean he's going to survive. They didn't mention who's going to play King Shark. That's interesting. I don't know. Maybe because it doesn't matter, because it's a mocap character, and you're just going to have to get some guy with a voice that's going to probably be digitized to sound like something or other. But let me know what you think in the comments below about the Suicide Squad and how the potential series will continue on after this. All right, here it is. We're going down now. We're going down to the final. What should I start with? I'll start with this picture because it's driven the fanboys nuts. The final story of the evening. The Batman trailer. Yay! The Batman trailer, yes. This is Robert Pattinson's inaugural debut as Bruce Wayne / Batman in Matt Reeves' film. Highly anticipated film, I suppose, for some. Maybe the copy before I start giving my take. I actually missed it wasn't a panel, whatever it was, Matt Reeves' discussion there, so I didn't really hear any of this, so this will be interesting to see what he actually had to say about this. The first trailer for the Batman is finally here. I watched the leak. Guilty as charged. I didn't watch it when it was on the panel. Let's see. During the movie's DC Fandom panel, director and co-writer Matt Reeves dropped plenty of hints about what fans can expect, confirming that only around 25 to 30% of the movie was shot when filming was halted in March. With that in mind, it's pretty amazing to think that we even have a trailer. And Reeves earlier explained that the Batman follows the Caped Crusader in his second year. This is year 2. As he attempts to investigate a series of murders tied to the history of Gotham City and his family. However, at this point in his vigilante career, quote-unquote, He's trying to figure out what he can do to change this place. He is not having any of the effect he wants to have yet. Reeves confirmed that Selina Kyle is not Catwoman at this point, while Oz, meaning Oswald Cobblepot, hates being called the Penguin. Even the Riddler is only just beginning to find his footing, and Andy Serkis' Alfred Pennyworth also promises to be unlike anything we've ever seen on screen before, according to the filmmaker. Let's see. Chinatown and Taxi Driver were among Reeves' inspirations. That's, whatever. Definitely sounds like we're going to look forward to a whole new take on Batman. I don't know about that. To be honest with you, my first instinct is to say this honestly just looks like they went back to the Nolan films. They said, let's make it even more gritty. Let's make it like a thriller. Let's make it like Seven instead of like, The French Connection. And, that's where they went and they branched off in that direction. I don't know. Judging by this, I don't know. This image, we'll go by this image first. I don't know. People are making a lot of it. Pattinson's not, cut out for the role or whatever. I think he's going to be all right. I mean, you got to remember, every Batman that's played Batman in live action, with the possible exception of Adam West, has worn the eyeliner. And I always think it's ridiculous when they try to excuse why he doesn't have it when he takes the mask off. At least in this one. I think it is kind of dumb, though, because if he has to make a quick change, he's got to take 45 minutes getting that eyeliner off. Or guy liner, if you prefer. All right, but let's get to my point. My point was, honestly, I think it looks very Batman Beyond-ish. I mean, Batman Begins-ish. Oh, man. The show's gone on for too long. Let's take a look at this scene right here. This looks like it comes straight out of Batman Begins. He's doing that same kind of grappling hook thing with the cops chasing him. And, of course, it's difficult because it's year 2, but then again, he seems to be working with Gordon already, and the cops still don't like him. I don't really know what to make of that. Let's see. Speaking of Gordon, I'm going to get some of these images up. So I'm going to move through these at a rapid pace. Let's see. Jim Gordon. Again, let's take a moment here for me to bellyache about race-changing characters. I will say that I think he looks great as Commissioner Gordon. Of course, he's obviously race-changed, which I don't like. But they've tried to make him look as much like Commissioner Gordon, as nature will allow, I suppose, if you want to put it that way. I think what bothers me most about the race changes is, now this is going to have a knock-on effect with Batgirl, should they ever introduce Batgirl, because now Batgirl will have to be black, or they're going to have to do the Fanforstic thing of, he adopted a niece or something that is white, and, it's just like, just make the characters what they're supposed to be, man, But, yeah, he looks like he's going to do all right. I am tired of supporting films where they're going to race change the characters. And I honestly can't say if I'm going to support the film. I mean, I probably won't, but, I mean, will I never see it? I don't know. I mean, I probably will at some point. I don't know. But let's go to the more damnable offense, if I can put it in that strong of a term. Let's see. Catwoman, as portrayed by Zoe Kravitz. They're saying she's not Catwoman here. She looks like all she needs is a mask or something. This aesthetic doesn't work for me. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But again, I don't know. People are trying to say, well, Catwoman was black before. Again, this I don't know. It comes down to one issue that was non-canonical, I think, or one graphic novel, I should say, that was non-canonical, is your only sort of comic book reference to make Catwoman black. No, that don't work. In the mainstream of the, Batman comics, Catwoman was always Selina Kyle. Selina Kyle was always white. You can't change that in the films and just pretend like it's not affecting. Again, when you look at Eartha Kitt, the Batman '60s show was not even trying to play to continuity. We had 2 different Riddlers, we had 3 different Catwoman, we had 3 different Mr. Freezes, and they all looked wildly different from each other. So that is not a place to go to justify having Catwoman be black. And then, as I said, I've never been upset about the Halle Berry Catwoman film because she wasn't playing Selena Kyle. If you want to say this is another, if you want to do the MCU Spider-Man thing, go the MCU route with Spider-Man and say, she's not Mary Jane, she's MJ. And so we can say this is not Selena Kyle, this is Patience Price or whatever her name was in the Halle Berry version. Why would we do that, though? Because we already have a Catwoman in continuity. We don't need to go to a different source. So again, it's just a race-changed character. And again, that takes the steam out of whatever momentum they're trying to build up here of enthusiasm for me, because I just don't see these as the characters I've known on, in the comics all my life. Now, sticking with that thought, let's stick with that thought about, like I said, the aesthetics, just the visuals. I don't like going this way. This is apparently the Riddler. I had to see the trailer 3 times before I could figure out this was the Riddler. That is a mistake. I don't... We already went through, 5 seasons of Gotham, and they got the characters, progressed relatively quickly. I don't need a whole movie of the Riddler not looking like the Riddler, Catwoman not looking like Catwoman. This is we're going backwards. This is the problem. We're going back again to the Nolan verse, where everything is gritty, everything is realistic. We're not going to see a Riddler with a bowler derby and cane and the suit with the question marks. It's not going to happen. We're not going to see a sexy Catwoman costume a la Michelle Pfeiffer. It's going to be probably kind of what we saw there, just, the generic cat suit that's going to be black and, it's just, it's going to be very nondescript. If there is a Joker in the film or in sequels, he's going to be just the same smeared makeup on take that Heath Ledger did, because that's realistic. Speaking of the Joker, again, we've seen this in some of the behind-the-scenes photos taken on set, but this looks very much like the Joker already exists. They already are, painting their faces white and giving that sort of slashed grin look. So you can't tell me the Joker doesn't exist in this continuity. It's just that, are we going to meet him? Chances are they're just going to set him up for the future. But it looks like Joker gang exists, Joker devotees. And I don't know if that's such a good idea either. They tried to do that as well on the Gotham show, which was Joker spawned a bunch of devotees. And, there's not just one Joker. There's other Jokers. I don't know. Stuff it. I don't like it. And so, again, this is not... This is not boding well for my enjoyment of the movie. One thing I think I did like was the Penguin. I can't believe that's was that Colin Farrell? Doesn't even look like him, and he looks good. The only thing is, again, we don't have the monocle, we don't have the top hat. He doesn't like to be called the Penguin. He's probably not going to carry umbrellas. He's just the perfunctory mob boss. I think in the trailer, we see a newspaper headline saying something about Maroni. He's just going to be some sort of tied into that. So again, I just wish that I could be excited about a Batman movie again. I mean, honestly, last time I was excited about a Batman movie was probably, well, I don't know about excited for, but the last really good Batman movie we had, I would say, was Batman Begins. I liked The Dark Knight. I didn't love it as much as others. I liked it because I think it was the first time we've seen a good, Batman-Joker relationship. And they kind of dropped the ball with Bane and Rises, and then we got, you know, the Ben Affleck Batman, which was sort of, I don't know, you know, I'm just not feeling it too much here. And again, this doesn't look like something that's going to mesh well with the Justice League, so I don't see them bringing this Batman into continuity. One last look here. We see Bruce Wayne with sort of a Shem Howard haircut. That's honestly what I thought of when I seen it. The Shem Howard haircut. And again, he looks morose and, as you would expect, kind of withdrawn. And I think they're shooting for a Michael Keaton feel here. I think they're shooting for... Michael Keaton played Bruce Wayne, particularly in Batman 89, as sort of touched, you know what I mean? Touched in the head. He was almost as bad as the Joker, and I never liked that portrayal either. I think he loosened up a bit in Batman Returns, and you kind of got him... Well, I don't know. I mean, he also have the beginning scenes of Batman 89 where he's sort of like, give Knox a grant and stuff. So he kind of had a sense of humor. But I'm afraid that we're going to get that Batman again that has no sense of humor, that has absolutely no endearing qualities. He's just miserable. And this guy's face just speaks to me of, I'm miserable. You know what I mean? I liked the Christian Bale take on it, which is, again, it's sort of the three faces of Batman. Batman is the face the criminals see and fear. Bruce Wayne is the party boy, the playboy that everybody thinks is like a ne'er-do-well, but he's really, got it together. Nobody knows that, though. And then the third face is the actual face of Batman, which is the Bruce Wayne Alfred knows, that his closest, friends and family or whatever you want to say knows, which is, that he's not really the goof, the ne'er-do-well, but then again, he's not really the soulless Avenger that is portrayed when he steps into the costume. And some people say that, the duality, it's sort of like a trilogy. It's the same thing with Superman. Superman has the klutzy Clark persona, where he throws everybody off and nobody can tell that Clark Kent is Superman because he is so convincing as being a klutz, a bumbler, mild-mannered, if you want to play it a little more so than the traditional way. And then you have Superman, which is, of course, everyone look up to. He's the icon, a demigod, and everybody is in awe of. And then, of course, you have the actual Superman, which is Smallville Clark. Is what it's a little bit easier to see the three shades of Superman in that analogy. Smallville Clark, when he's around his parents, when he's with Lois in the versions that, of course, that Lois knows his identity or that his parents are alive. But yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know. They're going to give him a trilogy nature here. I think they're going to just kind of stick with that. He's Batman all the time, and I don't really like that portrayal. I think we got some of that kind of in Batman 89, but I don't know. All right, so we got one last image here. We'll take a look at a close-up of Batman in costume. And I honestly think he looks pretty good. If I have to say a thumbs up or thumbs down, I would say thumbs up. I think the costume looks good. I think the cape looks good. I think the mask looks pretty good. It doesn't look as... You see, a lot of people are comparing it to Daredevil, the mask, and I can see that. But if you look at classic Bob Kane stuff, I mean, way back in the days of the early days there, the Kane and Finger comics, he has that kind of look. I mean, you could look at the Adam West mask, and he's got that sort of, let's see if I can point it to you. See that kind of domed look there where it's, it's cut off sort of from the rest of the cowl. And I think that looks good. I like that look. I like the way the cape looks, very tied in there, very regal kind of looking. The armor plating is a little primitive, but this is the second year he's being Batman. So, I mean, I'm going to cut them some slack here. I don't want to make it look like... I mean, he should have this thing looking much more refined by, like, Batman 2, definitely by Batman 3, if there is sequels. I still don't like this emblem looking like this. It's supposed to be, I think, the gun that killed his parents. I think that's ridiculous. If that is, in fact, what it is, we don't know for sure, I suppose. And Pattinson looks about the right measurements. He don't look like he's, he looks like he can move. I don't like, that's part of the problems. Like I said, with the Michael Keaton costume, it looks great, but there's no functionality. There's no movement. He can't turn his head. He looks like he couldn't throw a punch. He can't get out of his own way. This does look like he can function. And I think that's what kind of they're bringing from Batman Begins as well, as the functionality of it. I think this costume, I don't want to say it's as good as Batman Begins. I think the Batman Begins costume might be a little bit better, but it's still on par with that, where it's functional. He doesn't look like he's like the Ben Affleck Batman. He's just too bulky. He can't get out of his own way. This Batman can swing on, the bat ropes and do things like that. He looks like he can handle it. I didn't show it here. I didn't get an image of it, but yeah, I love the Batmobile. I think the Batmobile is the most accurate thing that I like from this movie so far. From what I've seen, I like the look of the Batmobile. It looks like what I always expect the Batmobile to look like in live action, like the others. 89 was too far, right? It was raked out really far. I don't know. I thought that was kind of strange. Batman Begins is a tank. I don't know. And, Batman Forever one was kind of looked like a model. That's another thing that I was thinking of is, they show the cops like joking, like, who is this guy or whatever. It's got that Batman Begins feel again. And on the one hand, I love Batman Begins. That's my favorite Batman movie. I think even better than probably the Mask of the Phantasm is so good, but I think I probably would say Batman Begins is my favorite Batman film. But you have to grow beyond that. You can't go back into that again and go through this whole thing. The Joker is, a guy with face paint and the Riddler. We got to get beyond that stuff. We got to get to the classic 4-color comics. We got to get the sleek, looking like she's wearing glass Catwoman costume again. We got to get the flashy Riddler with the hat and the coat and the cane. We got to get the Joker with the flashy costume that has the bleached skin. We might have got the Jared Leto with the bleached skin, but again, we really didn't get the flashy costume. We got the guy in a shirtless purple jacket. It's just, that's what's kind of disappointing to me, is that we haven't been able to get all our eggs in one basket yet. We really should be able to, at this point, have a comic accurate Batman on screen. And Batman, for some reason, is very difficult for them to translate. And every time they go back to the well and try to bring Batman back, I always feel like they squandered the effort. They really didn't get it. They didn't capture it. Well, again, that's kind of a dour dour look at the Batman trailer. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you like this Batman? Do you like the aesthetic, the look? Do you like the casting? Like I said, does race changing concern you as much as it does me? It's very annoying. So there you have it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for being here with me in this extra long edition of the Johnny Torch program. We're doing the Torch News Roundup number 182. And again, if you missed the beginning, I'm sorry I wasn't here on Sunday as I was supposed to be. It was technical difficulties with the computer. This is the inaugural broadcast with the new computer. Hopefully many more to come. And I think it went off very well. Make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you check out the link in the description below for the Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye, our masterpiece of comics, thrilling and chilling saga of a down-on-his-luck private eye who takes on the most colorful collection of villains imaginable in each and every action-packed issue. I am hoping to be with you again quickly. We're going to do another show, another broadcast, hopefully, and maybe we will talk about Bullets Bourbon, as we are going to be releasing the 7th issue pretty soon, and the possibility of an Indiegogo. So keep your ears open for that. And thanks for joining us. God love you for being here. Very appreciative. Until next we meet, this is Johnny Torch reminding you once again, keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.